As the playoff picture is coming into form, if you're like us and all you want is your betting card to come into form, you're in the right place because this is First Pitch on WagerTalk TV. I'm your host, Dan Alexander, and we got three great guests on an early edition getting you ready to bet Major League Baseball tonight. Yes, I know Thursday Night Football is on, but why not throw on the second screen and cash alongside some of our best baseball experts? We got Bryan Power, Eric Pauly of the Gold Sheet, and Jimmy Adams in the house. Bryan, let's start with you. And man, when the offense is needed the most for the Toronto Blue Jays, they're like Prez on Wager Talk today, and they're just taking a vacation, man. Just absolutely brutal what's going on in Toronto as they're looking to close out the Yankees, stack up some wins, and make sure they get a playoff spot. How are you going to be betting this one? Did they finally kind of right that ship after getting blanked yesterday?
Yeah, Dan, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think you can win if you don't score any runs. And that has been the case for the Blue Jays the
Fair.
last 2 days. 0 runs in 2 games. Now, they're still holding on to the second wild card spot in the American League, but Houston's creeping up. They're a half game. Seattle, who's had a terrible week, they're 2 games back. We know one of those three teams will be the odd team out. So, in terms of playoff positioning, yeah, Toronto's still there, but this is a critical game, I think, for them. You don't want to get swept by the Yankees. You don't want it to go down to the final day having to clinch a playoff spot. Now, let's talk about the Yankees real quick here. Give them credit because they obviously care about continuing that streak of consecutive seasons with the winning record. It was 1992 was the last time the Yankees finished a season with a losing record. They've won 16 of 24 overall here in September. And last night, Garrett Cole, you talk about caring. He obviously cared about sewing up the AL Cy Young Award. He tosses a complete game shutout, allows just 2 hits along the way. This is just the first time in over a year, Dan, that Toronto's been shut out in back-to-back games. So history suggests that the Bats might wake up tonight. And if they can't score against Luke Weaver, maybe they don't deserve to go to the postseason. Weaver has been better since donning the pinstripes, but this is a guy who the Reds and Mariners, 2 teams trying to make the playoffs, so by the way, just basically gave up on. And for the season, Weaver's got a 6.47 ERA, a 1.57 whip. I like Toronto starter Chris Bassett. He's got a 2 ERA his last 5 starts. Team's gone 4-1 in those 5 starts. In his lone previous start against the Yankees this season, guys, Bassett tossed 7 shutout innings of 3-hit ball. He's a big favorite here for a reason. I don't want to lay that price. I think from a value perspective, the best way to attack this one is to play Bassett and the Jays first 5 minus half a run. Again, if they're going to win here, Toronto, it's by scoring runs off Weaver. Bassett should do his job. So look for Toronto to have a lead after 5 innings, Dan.
Laying the spot in the first 5 for the Toronto Blue Jays, getting the job done to start the game. Do they finish with the win? Hop below in the comments and let us know. Let's swing it on down to my man from the Gold Sheet, goldsheet.com. Check him out. We got a great deal coming your way before Best Bet, so stick around for that. But Eric Pauly with us. And you want to talk a pitcher prop. It's been a while since we talked the Chicago White Sox on this show. So I love it. You're never going to shy away from the teams who are a little bit ugly, but you have a way to maybe creatively fade the White Sox tonight. How are you looking to bet this one, Eric?
Yeah, I can't stop raving about pitcher props. It's one of the most fun ways to bet baseball. And I'm going with Touki Toussaint, the starter for the Chicago White Sox, to have under 4.5 strikeouts today against the Arizona Diamondbacks. And this is a simple situation. I've talked numerous times throughout the course of the season on when it comes to K props. Teams have their highs and lows of being heavy contact or low contact teams. Pitchers have their times where they get a lot of swinging strikes. They don't get a lot of swinging strikes, so on and so forth. And this is just a simple situation of a low K rate pitcher in Toussaint against a team who throughout the course of the season has been a low strikeout team against right-handed pitching, and just fading that pitcher. Toussaint on the season, just percentile rankings, 11th in chase, 45th in whiff, and 40th in K, so nothing too great there. In Arizona, like I mentioned, over the course of the year, they have one of the lowest K rates on the season. Then when you break it down to recent performance in the month of September, just a 19.7% K rate against righties, and that drops to a 17.8% in the last 2 weeks, which is both in the bottom percentile of the league. And one of the big angles here, and something to always consider when betting K props, why I like to look at them now, wait till lineups and bet that number right when the lineups come out, because these start moving drastically then, is Toussaint is a much better strikeout pitcher against righties. That K rate is up to 27%, but against lefties, it drops to a 17.5% rate. Arizona just last night had six left-handed batters in their lineup yesterday. I expect them to do the same exact thing and trot out another left-handed heavy lineup. And because of that, I think Toussaint will easily go under this 4.5 strikeouts, as the Diamondbacks, not a high K rate team. Toussaint, low K rate pitcher against lefties. I think it's just a perfect match in the situation.
Great breakdown there, and I'm with you. Love betting player props. Love these pitcher props. Is one of my favorite ways to attack the card each and every day in MLB. Anybody else have any pitcher props that they're eyeing? Hop below in the comments and let us know. While you're down there, hit that like button and make sure you are subscribed here so you never miss any of the great shows we're dropping at WagerTalk TV. All right, Jimmy, final big game breakdown. You want to take a look at the Marlins taking on the Mets, and it's been the zigzag for the Marlins here. Horrible in game one, bounce back, have a decent win in game two. They make it 2 straight against the Mets here. How are you betting?
Yeah, every game now extremely critical for the Marlins as they're deadlocked with the Cubs for that final wild card spot. And one might think that the Mets could be a tad bit sluggish after their doubleheader yesterday and with nothing to play for. You know, the players will never admit this, but half the guys in this clubhouse have already made vacation plans. A few games to go. They're ready for it to be over with. Regardless, though, Jesus Luzardo gives Miami a great check up, a much-needed win in the series finale. Luzardo threw 6 shutout innings against the best offense in baseball 2 starts back, Atlanta. And his pitching profile is strong, a high chase rate and whiff percentage, which translates to strikeouts. And although it was a long time ago, he pulled the Mets scoreless as well at the beginning of the season. There's a lot to like about Luzardo. And look, there's not a lot that I love about David Peterson other than the fact that he induces a lot of ground balls. He gets hit hard. His pitching run value ranks in the bottom 10th percentile in all of baseball. He just gave up 4 in 4 innings to the Phillies, and New York has lost the last 4 times he's taken the mound. The Mets have also lost 5 of 6 overall, going back to that, how much do they really care? Miami certainly cares. Give me the Marlins to pick up the win tonight.
Great breakdown there from my man Jimmy Adams. He's on a 5-0 all sports run, so make sure you check him out at WagerTalk.com. And while you're over at WagerTalk.com, check out our man Bryan Power. He's got his first 5% NFL play locked and loaded of the season. You can grab it for just $2. And this is the guy who is rocking in NFL 10-5 through the first 3 weeks. So check that out. Only $2. You probably have that in your couch cushions right now. Grab the change, grab the $2 play from my man Bryan Power. And he's also going to give you a free play here. Let's talk St. Louis and Milwaukee. How are you looking to bet this one, Brian?
Yeah, I think I found $2 right here laying on the floor. But here's the thing.
Exactly. Buy your own
Speaking
play.
of $2, yes, that'd be weird. But hey, everyone, please grab it. Really excited about that play. But here's the thing. People are apparently very excited about betting the Milwaukee Brewers today, Dan, because I talked about the line move this morning on the Power 5. When I recorded that show, Milwaukee was minus 195 after opening minus 165. They've now soared past minus 200. They're like minus 210, minus 220. So They're betting this one like it's already over. Apparently, people just don't like the Cardinals, and it's easy to understand why. Milwaukee's got Corbin Burns starting this afternoon. This is a late afternoon start, by the way, the series finale. Brewers beat the Cardinals last night 3-2. They've, of course, already wrapped up the NL Central, have the Brew Crew. Obviously, there's a good chance Burns just shuts the Cardinals down here, but we're not interested in laying this kind of price, and I don't want to lay the 1.5. I even don't want to lay the half run in the first 5 like I talked about in the big game breakdown. So let's look at the Brewers team total. So as I just said, they did win last night despite scoring only 3 runs, but that is not the norm with this Milwaukee team, Dan. This season, Milwaukee 74-16 when they score 4 or more runs, 15-43 when they score 3 or fewer. So if you think the Brewers are going to win tonight, and I think most people do, you might as well play them over their win total, or team total, which is 4.5. Now, that means we obviously need 5 runs, not 4. But against Dakota Hudson and this Cardinals bullpen, 5 runs should not be a problem. 4 previous starts here in Milwaukee, Hudson has a 9.98 ERA. He's given up 17 earned runs in just 15 1/3 innings in those 4 starts. Again, I talked about my big game breakdown, laying a half run with the favorite here. Milwaukee sometimes starts slow offensively. I think from a value perspective, it was plus 100. It was basically even money last time I looked. This Brewers team total going over the 4.5 is your best bet. Hudson's not good, and the Cardinals bullpen has been shaky all season. So look for Milwaukee to put up 5 runs on the board this afternoon. That's your best bet for Thursday.
Yeah, and I love the breakdown and the way that it figures in with the matchup that they have as well. But if you even just look at what those bats have done over a little bit of month and change, sure, there's been some peaks, there's been some valleys. But if you just blindly bet their team total over in their last 36, you would have cashed 23 times. You would have been up 8 units, a 19% ROI. So I'm not going to talk you out of that one. Brewers, Brew Crew over the 4.5. And if you grab it as quick as you can, you might even just get even money on that one. That's Bryan Power. Again, check out that $2 play. Eric Pauly of the Gold Sheet, whom me and he are going to be breaking down some NFL games on Gold Sheet TV coming up to get you ready to go for the weekend. So make sure you're subscribed here, but don't leave without giving us a like. Another pitcher prop, man, and fresh off a 4-0 sweep yesterday. Also have a great code for people to check out the Gold Sheet at a really nice price. So tell people about that GS30 code and also let them know how we're going to be betting this Luis Medina strikeout prop.
Yeah, 4-0 on K-props yesterday was much needed to get things going to end September on a high note. Gold Sheet team will be betting baseball throughout October, so no worries there. And promo code GS30 for 30-day all access, $199. We have a 5% going in CFB this weekend, and we also have already 3 NFL plays loaded with probably eyeing at least 3 or 4 more there, waiting on some injury reports and whatnot. But back to the bases. So Luis Medina, pitcher for the Oakland Athletics, pitching in Minnesota tonight. So he's not a heavy strikeout pitcher, but averaging just under a strikeout an inning. So not like he is, that low of a strikeout pitcher. He's more of a whiff pitcher, which is why I'm looking at him. He's in the 41st percentile there. And the Twins are one of the most whiff-heavy teams in baseball throughout the season. Now, they've done a good job limiting those numbers in the month of September because we're talking about the whiff-heaviest team in baseball. In the month of September, that drops to 10th and 12th in K rate in September and 14th in swinging strike rate. So they are still whiffing, just not as much as they were. Again, that contact rate, just the 12th worst and best in baseball. So they're, again, liable to not make contact. What I find very interesting about the Minnesota Twins team is something about the sun is kind of their kryptonite, because when they play during the daytime, they have played 67 games, which is one of the tops in baseball in day games this season. They have struck out 704 times in 67 games, which is by far the worst or the most amount of strikeouts in baseball. The next team on that list has just played 1 less game than the Twins, and that team has struck out 64 times less than the Twins have struck out during the day. So we have a pitcher in Medina who induces more whiffs, which is something that the Twins do more. They whiff more than they chase. You have a pitcher in Medina who strikes out more righties than lefties. The Twins could stack some lefties, which is a little bit annoying here, but this number is 4.5, so I'm not really over concerned about that. Against a team right now in the Twins that are the predominant or the leading strikeout team when the sun is shining and the game is played between 12 and 3 p.m. EST. So no drastic splits here to be concerned about. The Twins' daytime fading of them in the strikeout department has been something to be crazy to watch all season long. I think Medina, despite not being a household name or an elite pitcher by any means, is good enough to we're asking for 5 against how this Twins team performs during the day and in general as a strikeout team is a great bet to make today.
Love the breakdown. And as he mentioned, GS30 grabs you 30-day all access, just $199. So check that out. You can find it right at wt.buzz/GS. It'll get you right there. All right, Jimmy Adams going to have the final best bet for us here today. And in true Vegas man form, you want to break down the nightcap, the get-back game, Rangers and Mariners. And, man, this is a big 4-game set that's opening up in Seattle tonight. So I'm wondering how we're going to be betting game 1, Jim.
Yeah, like you said, the Rangers find themselves in solid position to capture the AL West crown in a division that has been extremely competitive down the stretch. They're going to get a desperate Mariners squad in Seattle to open this series. But these are 2 teams that enter in completely opposite form. Texas has now won 7 of 8, including sweeping the Mariners just last weekend. and they're going to give the ball to Jordan Montgomery, who pitched in that series and threw 7 scoreless innings. Montgomery has been exceptional as of late. It wasn't just art. He's allowed just 1 run over his past 3 starts combined, and he's done it against teams that are playing for the playoffs. He did it against Toronto. He did it against the Red Sox and the Seattle team, like I mentioned, and he threw at least 7 innings in each start. It's very impressive what he's doing right now. And this is a bad time for Seattle to be losing baseball games, clearly. They've now dropped 5 of 6 after losing a heated game against Houston last night. We saw that one, benches clear and do the, hold me back type deal. But Logan Gilbert, he pitched well against Texas in his last start, but he did give up 5 earned, 2 starts back, and it's hard for me to see him out-dueling Montgomery here. The offensive differential between these 2 clubs is very substantial, with the Rangers ranking 3rd in all of baseball in runs scored, home runs, as well as OPS. Now, Seattle does hold the edge when it comes to bullpens, so I'm going to go ahead and take the Rangers in the first 5, and that'll be today's best bet.
Rangers first 5 over the M's. That's Jimmy Adams' best bet. Brian Powers looking at the team total over in the Brewers game. And Eric Pauly giving you a pitcher prop, Medina over the 4.5 Ks. That's the best bets for the guys here. Hop below in the comments and let us know yours. And that brings another edition of First Pitch to a close here. If you like the content, folks, hit that like button. Make sure you are subscribed. You're going to see 2 of these gentlemen a little bit later on Wager Talk today. And you can also catch the Power 5 daily. More reasons than ever to hit that little bell and get all the tools you need to bet all the sports you love only a click away right here at Wager Talk TV.